Hi guys, this is Allison from Alley Cat Creations. How are you? Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. That helps me get all this information out to you and others who might need it. And if you get anything from my work, a connect the dot, an epiphany, a mind-blown moment, please consider supporting my work, especially if you like the books that I read and you never heard of them before and you want to read them for yourself. Please support me. All the links will be down below. And thank you for everybody who kept me afloat to get me this far in life. Spiritual soul advice. I haven't done one of these in a while. But again, divine timing. The last few weeks, I've been getting a lot of messages from a lot of different people in the spiritual world, not in the spiritual world, people who are on the fence with it. And what the commentary theme that I was picking up on is self-doubt. Now, it is very hard for a spiritual person to prove things in the tangible world. It sucks. We are programmed and indoctrinated since we were little kids, no matter what generation you are, that you need proof for everything. You need to see it, you need to feel it, you need to experience it, you need to read it. Well, there's a lot of things in the spiritual community that there is no way you can show or read or prove some of the things that come past your eyes. Knowing that your gut, your heart, and your mind, your brain is processing the Trinity here, processing it all, whether it be feelings on somebody. Like, we should not be judging anybody. I am a very big test for a lot of people because a lot of people look at me and they automatically assume witch, devil worshiper, this, that, and the other thing. I just express myself creatively in my own, I do my own thing. I do me. I take to my own talk. But people look at me and they assume and make a judgment. And it's normally not a nice one. When we go out in the world, we're automatically looking at people and making assumptions. For a spiritual person, you're not looking at the outside, you're looking on the inside. And you're analyzing their auric field, you're analyzing their field, their energy, what they're giving, what they're just them, their vibe. Can't see it, you just know to know. You feel because you feel it. There's no tangible evidence for that stuff unless someone proves you're right by their actions. And that sometimes is very hard to do unless you're close with somebody. There's no way. And then we have this self-doubt. Yeah, your intuition, your gut instinct is your everything. It's your radar. It's having that feeling I should not go out today because something bad is going to happen. You don't know if that is going to happen or not, but 99% of the time, when you get that really, 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 really bad feeling inside, you stick to it, you stay home, and then you hear, you or may not, something did happen. Maybe it was a car accident, maybe there was a fire, maybe there was just something, someone showed up to wherever you were going that triggers you. Who knows? Most people don't go within and feel their heart, their gut, and their mind. They don't connect the three either. A lot of people just, you need to connect all three. A lot of people that expressed, uncertainty on things and They already know the answer. They just need validation. We all need validation. We all need to know we're on the right course of action, the right thought process. It's not easy when you're in a hermited way, or you're isolating yourself, or you're like me, you don't have too many people around to bounce anything off of. So you just have to start trusting your own self, going within, and stop self-doubting. We are all unique. We all have different life experiences. We all have different abilities. Everybody's ability is different. How someone sees the world is different from the way you see it metaphysically. But there are times that you do get tangible evidence. I'll give you an example of this tangible evidence. I was 2013. I was not in the best course of my life. This was the first rock bottom I hit. First one. I lost my job over an allergy, believe it or not, because I am allergic to chlorine. I was a lifeguard. Couldn't go in the pool no more after that anaphylactic shock and almost dying. It's great. I started getting a lot of things matrixing in my mirror, and I had no idea what that was. And my father at that point has been passed for a few years. So I figured, someone mentioned a little old lady, so cute and cuddly, and I'm sure she's crossed over by now. Said you really should go see her. She'll put a lot of those dots for you together. And at that point, no one told me what I was. I had a hint, had feelings. Just, I saw things when I was a kid, and it kind of weaned out when I grew a little older and was indoctrinated and programmed, and started the empathic abilities, the clairvoyant stuff. I lost the ability to see. Not that I could see all the time like I was a child, I saw everything. But when I got older, I only saw snippets of what needed to be seen. When I went to that medium, the very first one, she told me about a portal in my closet. She told me that there were things in the closet projecting through my mirror, and that there are different things that I could do to protect myself. Besides taking the mirrors down, there were my closet doors, to keep whatever is trying to get out in. So that day I went home, did and continued to do an upkeep on that stuff. But as time passed, go to another medium, says the same thing with more detail. Oh, you got good and bad things coming out of that mirror. And it's not just a mirror, it's a portal. It's more than that. But I can't put my finger on it. Okay. And then I had a reading by Kid and Candy from HVU, who went a little further to say, and again, I never told anybody about the portal unless you know my journey, and those people are not on my Facebook pages to know my journey. And it's private, they went in and saw the void of space and saw different dimensions. So 3 different people don't know each other, different years, a big span of time between each of those, talking about my closet. I'm going to hope this share screen is working. Hang on. I don't know if you could see this, but this is the 12 Trinity Stargates. This is from Ashiana Dean. TSG4, Staten Island, New York, and the coordinates right here. Okay. Staten Island, New York was where I once resided. So, open, Sesame. Why won't you open? There we go. Sorry, guys. This computer still is being a bitch. Okay. Now, those coordinates, I had to, and I do apologize, but for that I had to take out my numbers of my address. I didn't at the time, I was still living there, needed to be stalked by people or any nefariousness finding the address. Obviously they know, but we in this time and day, we don't know. So here's the closest coordinates to the Stargate is my house. I don't know if you could see, I went back to the coordinates 74.1, 40.6, 74.1, 40.6. And of course, there's the decimals after that. But I mean, bam. So I'm showing you this because it's very rare that a spiritual person has an experience and can tangibly show you the proof. So when people ask me about a Stargate and about this map, I could show them, well, that's where I used to live. And I could show you my driver's license to show that that's where I was residing. So, and for my entire, from when I was, after I was adopted and brought to New York, that's been my residence for the most part, my whole life. So that's just like something that in self, my own self-doubt, I had to overcome that and go within and go, well, I've been told, I feel, I'm doing the meditations, I see there's a lot of programs going on, there's a lot of things happening in the nether worlds, in Tesla land, above us, in us, around us, that is steering people in the wrong direction. But again, it's all of God. So who am I to judge? But it's very rare to get that evidence. It's very, very, very rare. And unless another spiritual person, a medium, a clairvoyant, anybody who has some sort of abilities can validate something that you're going through, it is very hard and you start self-doubting. Many of you, especially the people that write me, tell me and all these amazing, crazy stories. And you know the answer. You already know the answer. And the problem is you're self-doubting. You're doubting yourselves. Stop doubting yourself. Go within your heart. If it doesn't feel right, it probably is not right. If you go to your gut and it says, this is not right, it's probably not right. And it might be right for someone else, but it's not right for you. With a lot of things, the journey I've been on, Of course I self-doubt in manifestation. Of course I self-doubt a lot of things because I work my butt off, and so do so many of you. You work your butt off. You put the action into motion to manifest something. You're really like physically really working hard and you're not seeing it. It took me a year and a half to manifest moving. I didn't know where I was moving. I didn't know the house. I didn't have this picket fence thing, dream house mapped out in my head. I needed to get out of a situation that was causing me stress and harm. Getting me out of a state that is completely communistic, went against every treaty, every doctor paper that tells you this is not allowed and you can't do this, and yet they did it anyway. And I was affected by that. And I didn't have a choice. I had to move, or else I'll be homeless and go hungry. I had to put the work physically in to manifest just getting out of there. And then slowly things start coming into an alignment where I was able to just haul ass out of there and things worked out on the other end. It took a lot of work. It ain't easy. It's not like you sit there and you're like, well, I want an ice cream sandwich, and boom, it pops in your hand. And maybe one day when we move up in a density or two, we could just think about something and it like physically manifests an ice cream cookie sandwich. Those are good. I'm sorry if you don't like them. Those are really good. Or cannoli. My cannoli is my biggest downfall. But we're not there yet. We want to manifest a new world. We have to put action into motion, but on a collective scale. It's not just one person doing it. Of course, it helps, but it needs to be a mass on a massive scale. When those manifestations don't happen the way you want it to, and you're not thinking about the divine plan that you wrote for yourself, and you're not thinking about it just because you're working really hard and you're not thinking about, well, why didn't this happen? Then you start self-doubting yourself. Things didn't go the way that you tried each and with every fiber of you being. You went out and did something, you wanted something, and it just didn't happen. Well, yeah, sometimes we could throw it in the fucking chuck it bucket and say, well, it wasn't meant to be. Or are you self-doubting that it will happen in the first place? Another conundrum that I'm seeing in a lot of people is that you're doubting that you even have abilities. We all have them. Every one of you watching me right now have them. Some of us are tapped in and have been tapped in since we're little kids. It's a natural thing. It like just happens. In other things, we have to work hard for them. I've been trying to use the side of my brain to do the mediumship that will help other people heal by talking to the other side. I unfortunately, whatever I keep trying to do is not working. It's just not manifesting. I don't see the symbols. I don't get the little whispers. I don't get feelings. I know when I'm around other people and I've been around their field enough, I could start picking up on relatives and stuff. But if some stranger called me and wanted a reading, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And I don't get the two-way stream of conversation. I'm like, hey mom, what's up? Oh yeah, you did that today in heaven? That's amazing. Like, I don't have that ability. And I do want it because that's something I know I can try to help other people out. So I'm working on that. I don't doubt my ability in trying to do it, but something's blocked. Or that just might not be my path. I might just be a natural channel. But we see where those people go. And I'm not doing that alive. But all of us have different abilities. Some people can clear and see demons and clear them. Some people have the ability to channel through another person to get to another person. I was witness to this, wasn't there physically, but I'm close enough to the people that had that happen. Jeez Louise. Each of us have something. Something. There's people who have prophetic dreams. There's in the realm that I'm in, they're sleepies. They only know surface level things. And they're texting me about a prophetic dream and what does it mean? Why aren't you going into meditation and exploring? You don't have to ask me. You already know the answer. Go within. Go within. What do I mean by going within? Meditation isn't for everybody. I totally get it. I get it. I hated it. Didn't like it. My mind wanders off in 1,000 directions, and it's very hard unless someone is guiding me through it to get the experience that I need or get the messages. And 9 times out of 10, they're like, oh, your spirit guide's going to come to you and tell you its name. Not mine. I have too many. Which one? So those meditations don't work for me, but the guided ones where it's just me, I'm not asking for an entity to come through, going and visualizing. I'm an artist, so I could see a lot of awesome things. I take myself to amazing places visually, and I get a lot of my answers that way. I don't doubt myself when I'm doing me. But for those who are just starting out, number one, stop doubting yourself. Trust your gut, trust your heart, and trust your mind. Again, we've all been programmed and indoctrinated in some way, shape, or form. So there are programs running through you with the self-doubt, with the putting yourself down, with all this stuff is woo-woo nonsense. Your religion totally, most people's religions totally bash what I do. And others who are like myself. But you also have abilities. You don't acknowledge them. But if you acknowledge them, you have the choice. You could shut it off or you can let it run. It's up to you. But the more awake people with abilities, we all come together and work as a team and not just a solo venture, we're going to be way ahead of the fold moving forward if we all start working together. I always try to validate others when they're having or trying their abilities out, and then they start picking up on my energy, and I'll validate them. Validation is huge, but it's normally done by verbally speaking. Did you see that? Did you feel that? What was the emotional state that you're in going on? What was going on? Being validated, like that map and that coordinate map. When I found out that what I've been experiencing my entire life with the demonic, the alien, and whatever else was coming out of there. I didn't understand it. I did not understand why any of that happened to me. I am not that person that has my old address in a book. It doesn't happen. And I've expressed this in so many other videos. I didn't doubt myself. I just didn't know. And then when you do the inner work, everybody, what is this inner work everybody's talking about? Is it the shadow work? What is this work? We're confused. When I finally came to terms that, yes, I have a portal, I have a Stargate in my closet, in my house, and nefarious things are coming through, I had to ask myself, what am I? What am I on a soul level? It gets deeper than that. Then I started asking myself, why was I adopted in the first place? 9 times out of 10, a lot of the people I'm very connected with are way older than me. Most of my friends are in their mid 50s to 60s. I just turned 40. Why did I incarnate when I did? What was my purpose for being in the house? And I start asking all these questions, and it starts putting me in a frame of mind to go, okay, so let's walk through this. Why was I adopted? Because my 2 parents that moved into that development that was just built in 1986, so I was 3 years old. Divine Plan knew that I needed to be seated in that house, and these are the 2 people that are going to place me there. They can't have kids, but my birth mom and dad can have me, put me up for adoption, and quantum entanglement happens, and here I am in this house at 3 years old, being placed there for a reason. Then going into meditation and finding out I'm a light being, finding out way more than I would ever thought, going through some of the guided meditations, understanding that I had to hold a frequency key to hold these little suckers back. They can affect me, but they really couldn't affect anybody outside of my house. So I wouldn't allow it. I was holding a frequency there until I had to close it. But that's tangible evidence. And going in to get rid of this self-doubt, you got to go and do the work. You got to analyze yourself. You have to ask yourself, well, why did I X, Y, and Z? Why did I have a divorce? Why did I have to move? Why did this happen to me? Take yourself out of the equation and be the eagle and look down at yourself playing the role that you are playing as if it happened to you. It already happened to you. So now you're looking at it and analyzing what moves you made and why did you make them? What lesson did you learn from those experiences? How can you not repeat it again? And let's change the behavior. Let's change how you're going to do something the next time so you're not repeating patterns. You're getting rid of the old karma, the gunk in your auric field. You're trying to remove what no longer serves you. Doing the work is analyzing yourself, asking extremely hard questions of yourself. It's not comfortable. It is not pretty. But at the end of the day, when you tackle those things, why was I suicidal as a child? Well, my parents, and again, it's not to blame them. Again, we're all programmed and indoctrinated, including our parents. They were brought up in different programming, in different indoctrination that just levels off on us. And I'm only using myself as an example, but please insert yourself and ask yourself why. Why was I that way? Well, going back and understanding that I didn't have the tools, I didn't have the resources to understand my abilities back then. I used to see demons. I used to see dead, gross things. I used to be scared, not necessarily scared of it, but like, they would just, right? Stuff like that. They would just jump out and, they give me a little, but that, I mean, I'm not scared of that. It's just a moment. But they were sucking the energy out of me. I didn't know I was absorbing everybody's freaking pubescent bullshit in high school. A lot of people told me I was a freaking bitch. Didn't know. I wasn't consciously aware that I was projecting that. No clue. I just thought I was just doing me. And I had a couple people that I trusted, and I said, listen, you need to stop me and point it out. If I'm just, and you start hearing the bitch or whatever is something that all of you are in agreement, it's not a good part of me. Could you stop it? Like, cut me off and say, Allison, you see right there what you just did? Mm-mm. And then I would have to stop in my tracks, take a few breaths and go, wait, what did I do? Can you show me? Someone would show me or say it back to me in the way that I projected it. I'm like, oh my, and then I would be apologetic. So I'm a nice person. And I had to unravel and undo a lot of damaging things that I had no idea consciously that I was putting out there. When you're talking and you're zoning out, you don't know sometimes the things that come out of your mouth or the way that you're saying it because you're in the moment. You're living in the moment. And these are the things that doing inner work, changing the nasty part of you, not to say it, listen, we both have two polarities. We have positive and negative, and it's okay. It's coming to the awareness of that there is something wrong, you're doing something wrong, and it's okay. And fixing it, transmuting it. Understanding you have to ask yourself, why are you an emotional wreck? Well, what caused it? Go deeper. Keep asking and keep digging until you get your answers, and only you can answer those questions yourself. A lot of self-doubt happens because you're not questioning deep enough in yourself. People like, I just know things to know things. Well, no, it comes from somewhere. It comes from you. You have abilities. Oh, I don't really think so. But then how are you able to know things to know things? Stop self-doubting yourself. Trust yourself. The hardest part right now in society that I am seeing is a lot of people are hanging onto other people's paradigms, pulling onto concepts and things because someone said it, someone took their oracle cards and tarot cards out, and it's like, oh, look here. We all know I'm seriously showing this to you because Allison has a freaking problem. This is a card of oracle cards. A cart. A lot of cards. A lot of cards. Those are tools to help, but they're not going to give you the answers. It's true. Cards are tools to help you. When I used to do, and I'm going to get back into it, I do, and I swear I'm promising that. When I did readings, I was doing for the collective, and I would do for the star seeds, and I used to do for the signs. And it all stems, what the way I do my readings is to steer you in what you need to work on, giving you positive affirmations that, yeah, abundance is on the way, but you got to put the work in to get that abundance. Yeah, sometimes you have like some money come into your lap. Maybe sometimes you'll get a gift. Whatever the case is, abundance is so many more things than it is financially, monetarily. Those are tools to help you sometimes see or work your way around and have given you some side of actual hope. But you got to use that in what is described in a lot of those cards. I used to walk you through a journey. Here's your situation, and here, this is what it seems like we all collectively need to work on. Whether it be connecting to your heart, unconditional love, looking at things in a bigger sense. You need to focus on loving the people around you. Maybe you're not taking the time to do that. The cards are just tools, and they do help people steer their lives. Don't make it the end all be all. I watch a lot of tarot card readers all the time, and I find where their cards are lapping over each of the different people that I read. So if someone's having the Hermit come out in all the readings that I watch, okay, so that's something I need to focus on. Why am I getting the Hermit in everyone, all these different people, they don't know each other, and it's all popping out, or some themes start writing across everybody's reading, then I know those are things that I need to work on, look forward to, or put myself in a position to access those things. It's kind of hard for me, it's been time, but I'm still getting used to where I'm at now. I'm still trying to learn and how to navigate around this place. And there's a lot of people who are in very similar situations. If it's meant to be in your path, it will come. And I try to tell myself that all the time, because there's a lot of things that, like a normal human being would love to have. And it's just been escaping me my entire life. And I put myself out there and I go and do. But if it's meant to be, it's going to happen. If it's not going to happen. And I just have to come to terms with that. That's not self-doubt. That's being realistic. Doubting yourself is breaking your heart and your root here, because you're overthinking. You're overthinking. Just my opinion, by the way. But a lot of people have been coming to me, expressing their stories. I'm not sure what to do, or I have a feeling, but I don't know. But you do know. What does your heart say? What does your gut tell you? And I'm not being prejudiced towards men, but women, regardless of being a mother or not, you have the maternal instinct. We have a higher gut instinct, because a lot of magic happens in our gut if we do have babies. If we don't have babies, like myself, it doesn't matter. You still have that. It's innate, it's instinctual instinct. It's a mommy instinct. For the most part, almost all women I know have it. having children or not, you have a motherly instinct. And you know when you see something, you have to act upon it or try. Not every situation is to be acted upon, honestly, safety purposes. But your intentions are there to try to do good. For men, your gut instinct is also very, very highly important. We have to go in our gut that leads to the heart, that leads to your mind. And stop doubting yourself. Trust yourself. Start having the relationship with yourself. A lot of people have a hard time being alone, being physically alone. They are codependent on having another person, whether they're toxic or not, be in their paradigm because they're not used to being alone. You need to take the time to be alone with yourself. You need to learn how to be a loving, respectful partner to yourself. You're doubting yourself, self-doubt, all of it. You've got to go in and trust yourself. Are you making the right moves in your life? Did you do the right thing? And it's okay if you did something wrong. It's okay that you didn't take the path less traveled. It's okay. Those are all things that are meant to happen because that's the way you wrote your script. But it's acknowledging where you went wrong and making the changes, which is doing the work so that it doesn't repeat again or becomes a cycle. I unfortunately had to learn very hard lessons in that way because I didn't recognize I was in a cycle. I didn't recognize I was allowing people to take advantage of me. I didn't recognize that good people can also do these things unconsciously. I didn't realize a lot of things. And as I'm getting older, as I'm going through this experience, and my consciousness is like, hi. Many of you are also having that epiphany, mind blown moment where, oh, that's why that relationship happened. That's why that took place. That is the lesson I needed to learn. And now we're looking at things to learn from. Not that, oh, it happened to me. I'm going to become a victim. Trauma City. Yes, trauma is very hard to clear. That gets in the way. And that's also self-esteem issues arise when you have trauma, depending what kind of trauma it is. And it affects your ability to stand in your authenticity. Because a lot of people who have trauma, depending upon what kind of trauma, you put a mask on. You put a mask on, you go out in public and no one would know that you might have gotten raped, you were molested, you're grieving, whatever it is, you are physically abused. You grew up in poverty, you grew up in a very, very abusive family. Whatever the case is, we all have our own story. And it's not to take away anybody's trauma. We shouldn't be doing that in the first place. Everybody's feelings should be validated and valid. Telling me a person in a third world country has it worse than me is not, you're not validating my feelings. You're not helping me with understanding why I feel the way I feel. You're not tackling it. You're deflecting it, making me feel worse because of course I don't want someone in a third world country to feel the way I do. And I don't want to compare myself to that. How I use, well, the things and tools that I use to deal with what I feel is my own trauma. Some things you just can't confront. It's way too painful. So I would meet it. Okay, situation. You no longer serve my life. You're not doing anything good for me. You're causing me stress. I have white hair already and I'm only 40. I'm going to release you with love. And you're going away. You're going bye-bye. Bye. Adios. Other traumas, I have touched a tree and given my problems to a tree. It sounds crazy, but trees can transmute just as much as your mind do. But I touch a tree and give it my problems, and I feel better. I feel grounded doing it. Some people cannot confront the trauma because it's so painful, and it triggers a lot of things that isn't the healthiest to be triggered in a person. So just releasing the feeling, releasing the trauma, releasing and saying, I'm going to let it go. No longer serves me. Bye. I love you. But you can go over there now is one way to try to help that, because that comes in and it really starts making you doubt yourself, especially those who have abilities. I had to pause for a minute because I am like in my self-reflective mode, like, does this anything I'm saying make any kind of sense? I don't know. So you guys let me know. Crazy energy today. Crazy day. And just a lot of people messaging me. And big theme is the self-doubt that's just coming up all over the place that I'm seeing in other people. They're doubting and they're asking me, which is great. And trust me, I'm always giving advice and I'm always there for people. That's without saying. But what I pick up on them is that they already have the answers within them. They just need validation. And as a human being, we all need validation from time to time. All of us do. We still have those programs. We still have the indoctrination. We're trying to get rid of that. And a lot of us are ahead of the game. We're going through each and every time something pops up to trigger us. We're like, okay, wait, take a breath. Why is that triggering me? Why is that person triggering me? What's happening? And you're more self-aware that something's triggering you or something's bothering you. And then you go and fix it by changing the reaction that you have to it, because you're giving your power away when you're giving into someone else's bullshit. Plain and simple. You change the mode of how you respond and react. You know, again, Kabbalion, it's a must-have. You might not like the Hermetic principles. It's the law of the universe. It's just spoken in quickly, easy read. You just come to neutrality. You don't see the bad or the negative in anything. You just come to neutrality and you're like, okay, why is this here? What does it have to teach me? How do I respond better next time if I didn't respond so great? Is this worth it? And by doing that, you're giving yourself so much self-love. You love yourself when you want to step out of the box to change your reactions, the way you're thinking. From a personal standpoint on my own journey, I used to just listen to every podcast imaginable. I stopped watching TV. That was the first major change that I made in my life. I stopped watching TV. If I put it on, it was to watch a hockey game. As much as I loved the Game of Thrones, and I did not get to watch the new series, or Vikings used to be a very big one for me. I started to understand what television really is and what it does. So I started watching people talk podcasts with different, things that I'm interested in, things that I want to learn. And then I started feeling like there was an agenda. It's too good to be true. And as I started going in and learning how to self-respect myself and my boundaries, I stopped doubting myself when I felt something was off about a person, or the message that they're conveying is something that does not align with me. Doesn't make them a bad person. It just, what they're spewing is something that does not align with me. And I have a choice to listen or not, and I would shut it off. I stopped doubting myself and my abilities. I literally stopped to think what a gift it is for what I am that I could give to other people. And on a daily basis, I validate and help other people breach that point. Breach it by opening themselves up, opening their heart up, and start trusting themselves again. We live in a very ugly world. We've all had our own walks of life of crazy experiences and things that we can't explain. And we always put it down like, did that happen? You have to question yourself. I think it's time that we stop questioning ourselves and going within for the answers. People hang off of, when is this going to happen? Oh, is this happening? And that's going to happen. Oh my God, that's going to happen. Well, this one said this is going to happen. You should go in and check in with yourself. No one else needs to tell you. You're here to remember. Are you going in and checking in with yourself? I honestly stopped listening to a whole bunch of people. I don't need to know anymore. It's already here. It's already there. I don't, yeah, I'll read some articles but it's like at this point of the game, I don't care anymore. I'm not shocked or afraid of anything that's going to come my way. I already faced the worst that I could face. I've been through so much loss, so much death, so many abrupt life altering shit. There's no surprises going to jump at me anymore. And if I don't trust myself and I don't walk my authentic path, then I'm good as useless. I'm all I have. If I don't walk in my straight truth, and if I don't be honest with myself, and if I don't trust myself to make these moves, and I already passed a big test for my own self, I never thought I was going to leave Staten Island. I thought I was going to live out the prosperity and the abundance that my parents built for me. They built for themselves. I inherited it. Never thought I would have to do that. I thought I was going to be there. And to force me out of my comfort zone, force me to move to a place I never been before, never even visited, just picked it on the map, and here we are. It takes a lot of self-trust to walk that path. And not everybody's going to be there at the same time or there yet, but it's a work in progress for everybody. I'm still working on it. I don't want to have to be validated by anybody anymore. I don't mind doing it for others, but I don't like the I told you so thing because it happens way too many times in my life. And sometimes more than a century later, decade later. Oh yeah, I remember you doing that, and I'm sorry. You were right. Sorry I gave you hell for that. But I said in my convictions, are you standing in yours? Do the work. Ask yourself those hard questions. When you are really stuck on something and you can't figure it out, go out in nature and just sit. And that's not easy to do for everybody. You got a life, you got kids, you got the whole thing going on. But take a moment, clear your mind, and just look at the sky. Look at the birds. Take those deep breaths and then start questioning. Analyze logically with rational reasoning. Is this the right, whatever the case is? When you don't put the love in yourself, you start to doubt. When things don't happen in the right timing, you start to doubt. When you try to manifest and it's just not happening for you, you self-doubt. Change that mind frame. Things are supposed to happen for you if you wrote it in your script. Things will manifest if you put the work into it. And you can't have expectations on what it's going to look like at the end. You want to fantasize having a mansion and a car of your choice. You have to work and earn for it. They just don't fall in your lap unless, yes, you're one of the very few percentages in this world that win the lottery. Not everybody will win the lottery. It's free will by chance. You can't live every day like you're going to win the lottery and be neglecting your whole life and waiting and waiting and waiting for the moment until you can have those things. Are those things that important to you that you have to have it to make you happy? Why don't you try making yourself happy first? You'll find out you don't need those things. You don't need anything external to make you happy at your soul level. You don't. People that, don't have that much, you don't need, people in the spiritual practices charge an arm and a leg for readings, charge an arm and a leg for services, for clearings, for, you don't, those things are helpful. And I'm not saying don't get them, but where's your priority? Should be you. Should be yourself. Work on your inner self. Work on your reactions. Work in understanding that you have abilities and that you can use them to your benefit or your detriment. It's a choice that you can make. You can shut them off. But if you know that you're going to be here to help humanity and that you, with a bunch of other people, can make the world a better place, why wouldn't you want them? And some people, when you start going within, you start making those changes, you start changing the way you react to stimulus, you start calming your whole essence down because you're not getting triggered by some guy that used to trigger you all the time. You kind of mellow out. And then when you start doing that, your aha moments start happening more often. You start getting these downloads. You don't know where they're coming from. and something sparked some inspiration within you you had no idea you had. But you got to change your mind frame. You have to change the way you're thinking and what you're reacting to on the outside world. You have to do inner work. And that self-doubt will start melting away. And yeah, so everybody has it's human. It's a human emotion. Everybody will have that they will need validation, that be validated on. See, we all do, but it'll happen less and less. You won't need it all the time. Oh, what does this mean, Allison? Well, you already know what it means. Read it again. Look deeper into what you just wrote me. What did you just say to me? You know, especially dream interpreting. Look at what you just wrote to me. Think about it. Oh, and then the aha moment happens. I don't even have to do anything. It's just like, look at it. Think about it. You're just writing something to write it because you don't know what to do with it, but you do. You just have to sit and take time with it. You have to analyze it. You have to ask yourself, what is the purpose of this? Why did I have a dream of this? Why did this person walk in my life? And slowly, intangible evidence, things will start showing themselves to prove to you that you're not nuts, that you have abilities, and that you can make changes. They do stream through intangible evidence. It's just sometimes takes forever. And for me, going back to that Stargate, who in my paradigm never ever been validated in such a huge way? 3 different sets of people, different time frames of my life, different junctions in my life, telling me that I have a portal, I have a void of space, and that there's things that are coming out of him. Well, no shit. But then there is a book with my coordinates that I used to live at in a book. That shit does not happen to me. But it did. And that was the biggest kick in my ass that I needed to keep moving myself forward consciously, to expand my spirituality, to expand, period. There's a lot of books back there. A lot of it is about mediumship and channeling and chakras and a whole bunch of fun. I wanted to be like those people. I want to write a book, but I don't have those kind of experiences. I have different experiences. And I have to learn that my abilities are unique to me, and that everybody's abilities are unique to them. There is commonalities with different abilities. So when you read what an empath is, yeah, that's giving you a broad-based outline of what an empath is, but there's different types of empaths. You might have different components of all of that to make you up, but you are the one and only uniqueness in this experience. So not even all the books are going to tell you what you are. What you read is just broad line someone else's experiences with their abilities, but your abilities might be similar to theirs but different. But unless you go within and trust yourself and trust what you're getting is accurate, what you're getting is what you're feeling, and it not invalidate it, well, why do I hate that person? I don't even know. They're probably the nicest person in the world, but there's something about them that you pick up on and come to find out a year, 2 years later that they did something heinous. Again, and it's not to judge another person. People always do some fucked up bullshit, and it was a learning experience for them. They shouldn't be held to a noose because they made a bad choice or they did a couple of bad things. We all have these experiences to learn from. But if that person continues to do and then they mask themselves as this, that's your bullshit detector going, there's a problem, 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 there's a problem. Unfortunately, my bullshit detector is really, really good. And I've always proven myself that I'm 98% correct in my assumptions. Again, not judgment, because again, that's their life that they're living, but they're making choices. They're doing and saying things that they continue to show me that I'm right. I didn't do anything. I'm just sitting back and watching and observing. Laying on my comfy chair here. No one's perfect. Even though we're supposed to find the perfection within ourselves, we're human. And we need to start trusting ourselves and giving ourselves the love that we give others. What a thought. You have to start enjoying your own company. Get to know yourself. And it might not be easy for people with families, but if you just go outside on a break at your job or with your kids, you're in the parking lot, the kids are in the car, you're putting the cart away, and you're just taking that moment to take a breath. Find yourself. Look at the beauty of the world. That will be as helpful as it gets. And you keep doing it. You have to self-love. And that is the starting point to get rid of that self-doubt. Doubting yourself is doubting your abilities. Doubting your abilities, most people are very nice and they want to help others. Well, it's impeding you if you're self-doubting because you're questioning yourself and what you got. Doing the inner work is questioning your outside stimulus and making changes in your responses so you're not overly stressing, you're not getting triggered anymore. You're not hanging on to everybody who gives you information because they probably didn't even do the work. They're snatching it off someone else or they read something somewhere. It's not their own original thought. Your abilities, you're getting your own original in the moment knowing. Why are you doubting it? You didn't need to read it. You're reading it through your energy. So I hope something made sense to somebody. I think I'm all over the place today, but I felt very compelled to do a video. Very odd day. Very weird. Very active, which is great. Very little sleep, by the way, still. Got an oil change. That was the quickest oil change I ever had in my life. Seriously, was fucking in shock how quick that took. Never, ever. New York used to sit for an hour or two to get my car an oil change. Just an oil change. 15 minutes and it didn't even feel like 15 minutes. Crazy. And then I went food shopping and then straightened up a little bit and watched the Time Is Now podcast. So I love those guys. And then got more texts today and gotta come and do something and talk about it. At least get it out. It doesn't need even to make sense. Just need to get it out. So I hope that made sense and it helps people who are going through that struggle right now with validating themselves or needing validation. You don't need it. You got to go within. It's nice to have it. It was nice to see that I'm not crazy by saying that I have a portal in my house. Here, it's in a book now. I can show you. Here's the coordinates to my house. It's tangible evidence. It's nice to have, but no one needed to validate that in me. I already knew. Because I've seen what was coming out of it. Not all of it, but I saw a lot of what was coming out of it. I knew what was affecting me. I knew. I self-doubted, though. I have the tangible evidence to show. Not all of us are going to get that in every instance. I had to do a lot of work my own self to change my thought patterns, to change the way I was thinking, to go within and analyze, ask those deep, 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 deep questions, come to neutrality and figure out why things were triggering me, why things, I get these like messages or downloads and I couldn't sit there and I couldn't go through all of it. And there is really no one that really validated anything. I had to trust myself because at the time I didn't have many people to talk to that even found me respectable. A lot of the people that I grew up with or the friends that I have, and I love them, they don't believe half the things I say to them. I'll project things out, and when they do happen, girl, I'll get a lot of that, but they still don't make that connection. So it's not easy. But as I'm getting older and as I'm moving through this experience, I'm gaining my own self-awareness, my own self-love, my unconditional love, and I'm making changes to think differently. And that way, I'm not self-doubting anything that I get anymore because I know it's true to myself. And I want you guys to be empowered to be true to yourselves. Because you are your only self. I'm not you. You're not me. You have to be true to what you are. You have to be your authentic self. So I hope that helped. I was even doubting putting this up because I probably sound like a lunatic, but I'm going to do it anyway because I care. The people that need to hear it, see it, and feel it are going to benefit, and the people who are just going to be judgmental, you're going to do you. It's okay, do you, boo? But I hope this is helpful. I haven't done one of these in a while, and I felt it's very important to get this out because we need to start that conversation with loving yourself and stop doubting your abilities and yourself in general. So giving all of you protection, light, love, and shielding. Thank you all for watching. If you like this, subscribe, share, maybe. And if you get anything from my work, love donation, help in any way, it'd be great. Helping is also liking and sharing, which not many people do, period, end of story. but I have to look past that because I'm doing the work of upstairs, and I doesn't really matter at the end of the day. People who really need to see and hear these messages will get them eventually. So that's why I keep doing them. Till the next time. Hopefully tomorrow with a Urantia reading. Have a nice night, guys. Have a really good rest of your week. And I'll see you on the next one.